Crafty friends, it's Nikki and I'm so excited to be here with another video for you today. Today we are going to be looking at cardstock versus ink blending when you're using die cuts, what the differences are, what the pro cons of each one is, and just some tips and tricks on how to do it easily. So what we're going to do is compare two projects. One project we're going to use all ink blending on our die cuts, and the other one we're going to use colored cardstock. Now this is part of the inspiration challenge on the Altenew blog this month. I am a first-time host of that, and so it's also a color challenge. I'm challenged to use a red, green, and brown, or I'm going to translate that to gold as well. I'm going to be using an older die set from Altenew called the Poinsettia 3D die. So what I love about this die is it has 5 layers, but you can cut those layers multiple times and really build up your poinsettia so much. I recently got this Anna Griffin Impress Mini, and it is a game changer for die cutting. So I'll make sure to link that in the description below. I'll also link how to get to the Altenew Inspiration Challenge so that if you want to play along, they do give away gift cards to whoever wins that challenge. And if you're making along with me, just cut out tons of these pieces. Just take a minute, pause the video, cut out some pieces. I did a ton of white, and that was on Bristol Smooth, so the ink blending will be easier. And then I'm also going to use some cardstock colors. So let me just tell you those in case you're making ahead, and then we'll get right into this project. When I'm die cutting with cardstock, I like to do each color that I'm going to use. I like to do a light and a dark, so it gives you some variation. So here are the colors. I'm going to list them out on the screen. Of course, they will also be in the description for you to link to. And here are all the pieces I end up with. I just keep them in a little container, and I'm able to put this together into so many different cards. That's one thing about cutting the colored cardstock. It definitely is faster than the ink blending. Now, your pick of cardstock can be whatever you want, but I used Altenew because it has color families, and kind of like their inks have a 4 set of color families, their papers at least have 2 right now. They're working on getting a full collection, but right now you at least have a couple of colors that are made to go with each other, which really makes your die cuts stand out. I'm going to cover all of the possible petals of this in Coral Bliss. This is the same color that we've die cut too, so it's going to be a lighter version of that, but you can create a lot of depth. I'm not going to spend tons of time on these layers because I know I'm coming in with some darker ink blending as well to create more depth. So once I've got them completely covered, I'm going to get a little extra concentration of ink in the centers of each of these. So you'll see me doing that, not worrying about it too much, but you can automatically see what kind of difference that makes. Now I'm moving to a smaller ink blending brush and the next darker color kind of in the line of colors. This is called Heartbeat, and this is what our red flower is cut out of in the die cutting. So we've got something for it. We're going to add this to the middle, and I'm going around kind of the tips of each of the flowers. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. So I add to the centers, and I kind of go along the edges and at the little tip point just to get a little bit more color all around so it's not all concentrated right there in the middle. But remember that middle part, most of it's going to be covered up because you're layering this flower. So you really want to focus on how it looks as it comes out from the other one. So we can see that there's a dark shadow, and then it goes light and gets a little bit darker. So these little bitty blending brushes are great to kind of do that effect. And that effect is unique to being able to ink blend on something. So when you're using cardstock, you don't get this same focal point like you do when you're ink blending. So if you love that look of there just being like a spotlight on your card, then you may want to take the time to do the ink blending. But it definitely is more time consuming, and if you're creating a lot of cards, then this is going to take you longer to get your cards done than just cutting from cardstock. So, one thing that also adds a lot of interest is going a step up in your color. So, I picked two of the larger petals, and this one, instead of making the base Coral Bliss, I'm going to use Heartbeat, which is a darker red color, and come in with an even darker center. So, one nice thing about having a set of inks from Altenew or anywhere that has multiple colors, it helps you really coordinate your card. You can just do different shades, and I'm going to make sure that I get this dark enough to make a difference in the petals. And here's how they look. So they start out kind of light, but I keep just adding ink to get that really beautiful bright red. Now we're going to come in with the next darker color in this lineup, which is called Berry Mocha. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm taking a kind of smaller brush and I'm brushing it outwards and doing the tips of the petals. So where you can really tell the difference is when I hold these two together. Look at that lighter one that we made, and then the darker one. It's going to make such a beautiful flower. Now I'm going to take you through the greenery. It's the same colors that we use for die cutting. So we're using Just Green and Hunter Green. Same process as before. And I do need to say in this video, because I always get at least one or two comments anytime I do poinsettias, that these are technically not flowers. Technically, all of the poinsettia is leaves. And just that middle center part is a flower. So just FYI, I know. Thank you for all the sciencey people who have been letting me know that. But I just can't help but call it a flower. Okay, so here's how the green is turning out. And I did 4 of these, even though we're really using, I think, just 2 on this card. But I wanted to kind of make ahead, because if you're thinking you're going to make lots of Christmas cards or lots of cards with these on them, then you may want to go ahead and make ahead. So I just kind of went on and did extra pieces all along this. So let me show you how this comes together as the ink blended version. And then let's look how it comes together as the cardstock version and talk about the advantages of each one, what we like about it, what is which one's the fastest, which one gives the type of detail that you would like. I am going to briefly show you the background that I used for this one, because I did keep the cards almost exactly the same except the background. And this background is a technique that I saw JC Gasper do recently, and it is really fun and easy. So I wanted to show it real quick in this video before we get to our cardstock version of this card. I just love how it looks. So cute. Now all it needs is the little center gold. I'm going to start with Craft Cardstock. Now, when JC did this technique, he used black. I really like how it gives you a cool background on this craft. So I'm using the Altenew white pigment ink, and I'm using a piece of scrap plastic packaging. I'm going to add some ink onto that, and I'm going to add 1 drop of water, which somehow I kind of got off camera. So I have a little thing on my desk, and I added like 1 teeny little drop of water to smush this around, okay? Just got a little teeny drop of water, smush it around just to make it more mobile. And then I'm going to start kind of bending my plastic and applying the white ink, just in a tapping motion. This is called a lot of times ink smushing. I love it because I'm just kind of creating a wash of a little bit of variation on the background here. So I just kind of add it in all different ways. You can bunch up your piece of plastic in different ways to get kind of different patterns. You can add more water if you want it to be lighter, or you can add straight with the ink if you want some more white. But I felt like this was a great contrast in the background, and I really love backgrounds that have something going on. So I thought this was a great subtle way to really show off that flower. Now, this is a white pigment ink, so you do need to clean it off pretty quickly from your mat, or it will get a little bit more difficult to get off. So I'm going to clean that off, and let me show you what it looks like up close. Look at that. I just love that. It's just a pattern with plastic. How cool. Okay, here's how the card comes together. I did a black mat. I did a little bit of white splatter on the flower just to kind of bring in that kind of grungy effect from the white on the background. So I did add a little bit of splatters, which gives it some more detail. Let's put together our cardstock poinsettia. It's going to be so much faster, and we're going to add some fun, easy details to it as well. But definitely when we're looking at pros and cons of the cardstock versus the ink blending 100% takes longer. I mean, it just takes longer. It gives some amazing details, and especially if your card style is going to be more vintagey, or something like that, it is a great way to go because that ink blending looks amazing on that craft cardstock background. When I'm looking at cardstock, especially this bright colored cardstock like this, you can go in and ink blend on the colored cardstock if you want, but I wanted to show how it was easy to make a quick card that was bright and bold and beautiful. And I feel like the boldness really shows up with using colored cardstock because it is an even color. You can get really dark, rich colors that are a little bit harder to get with your ink blending. And there's some different style that just having the solid color really adds to. I feel like it's a little bit more modern, and bolder. I use the same gold cardstock from Altenew as the center of my flower and for the sentiment on this one. I really wanted to keep everything to cardstock on this, so I reached for one of my favorite embossing folders. This one is called Tufted Elegance, and it just makes this nice pattern, and I love embossing on dark cardstock. So I'm using some black cardstock from Altenew. Look at how gorgeous that is. Oh my goodness. With this bright, bold flower, it's going to look amazing. So I kind of play around with my layout here, and let me show you what I come up with finally, and then let's compare our cards. I love it with the two flowers, but I ended up deciding to do one flower and add some gold washi tape, which is hidden mostly by the flower, but just gives that nice little hint of gold behind it. The reason I did one is because we're really comparing this cardstock versus the ink blending, and I felt like it was kind of unfair to put two of these bold flowers on this card because I thought it would possibly just win because it was just so glorious. So maybe that's just my opinion. So I decided to stick with one. We're doing the same sentiment. We added those gold elements to this. We added a gold element to the middle of the ink blended one. And let's look at them side by side and talk it through. Okay, so we've talked about the speed factor. If you need fast cards, the colored cardstock is the way to go. If you need one single super impressive card, showing off that ink blending and creating a focal point is very fun. I am a fan of dark, bold colors, so my favorite is actually the cardstock card, but I love how the other one turned out as well. All right, so I hope you had fun doing this. Make sure you tell me in the comments which one is your favorite, what style you prefer, and if you're making cards this festive season, I'd love to hear about it. Don't forget to check me out on the Inspiration Challenge for the month of November. I'll be on the Altenew Blog, and we'll be giving away 5 $30 gift cards. Have a great day. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.